In this video, we're talking about the stop, drop, and feel, my trademark tool for stopping a binge in its tracks. And if you can't get there at first, you can get there with practice. The stop, drop, and feel is all about emotional awareness and emotional tolerance, two emotional self-regulation skills that are the essence of learning how to stop out of control eating. And we'll dive into the specifics on those soon. First, we're going to start by breaking down the mechanics of the stop, drop, and feel. And then I'm going to explain some of the most common mistakes that I've seen in the last 7 years of using this tool myself and with my clients and readers. And then we're going to talk about a story, the story of how it all came to be, the story of how I first ever used the stop, drop, and feel in my own life to stop out of control eating. So I hope it makes all of these principles and tips and how-to tricks that I'm about to share seem more real life applicable. My name is Carrie. I'm an eating psychology coach that specializes in stopping compulsive eating. If you're a longtime follower, this video is a review, but if you are brand new to my work, this is the most important video to watch. So let's dive straight in. The stop, drop, and feel is designed to help you stop out of control eating. So when you feel that urge to eat, when you know you're not hungry, that is the moment to employ this tool. So 3 steps: stop, drop, and feel. Stop yourself before you reach for food without hunger. Arguably the hardest part. I say it, it's so easy to say, and I definitely have tricks to make it more accessible, because for someone to say just stop before you eat without hunger is ridiculous. That person does not understand the nature of compulsive eating or out of control eating. And I personally think this topic is best explained by someone that has been there. So, first step is stop in the moment that you know you want to reach for food without hunger. It could be the moment before you reach for sweets, like after dinner. It could be halfway through a meal. Whenever you feel the urge to eat without hunger, that is your cue to do the stop, drop, and feel. Then go to a separate room. I usually like to use my bed and sit or lie down somewhere separate from where the food is and drop into your body. And then the third step is to feel, to surrender. It's really important to know that this is not about feeling better. This is about carving out time to intentionally and purposefully feel bad. Now, why do we want to do that? Why do we want to intentionally feel bad? That's not what we're trying to do here, right? But it is. Distress tolerance, the ability to tolerate discomfort, is correlated with reduced compulsive eating. If you want to see the science and the research behind it, I will link to my article in the description. The stop, drop, and feel is based on the idea that behind every desire to eat without hunger is an uncomfortable feeling that we either aren't aware of or we are aware of, but we're keeping it at arm's length. We don't want to feel it, and therefore we feel that knee-jerk reaction to reach for food without hunger. And so when we train in the exceptionally difficult task of sitting still with our discomfort, sitting still with that edginess of anxiety, loneliness, sadness, stress, whatever it is, when we train in sitting still with it and embracing it and allowing it to be here without resisting it, we develop what I like to call emotional tolerance, formerly known as distress tolerance in clinical literature. I like to call it emotional tolerance. When you develop emotional tolerance, the world truly is your oyster. That is the skill that allows you to genuinely stop a binge in its tracks. That is the skill that allows you to access the willpower that I believe you already possess in abundance. We need to get it out of our heads that compulsive eaters lack willpower. You do not lack willpower, but when we don't have skills like emotional tolerance, we lack the ability to demonstrate our willpower with compulsive eating. So those are the mechanics of the stop, drop, and feel. Let's talk about how to make the stop more accessible, because this is the hardest part. You can't just tell a compulsive eater, just stop yourself before you want to eat without hunger. That is just akin to saying, just stop overeating. It is useless advice, so let's dig into it. The stop, drop, and feel is not about restriction, right? So if the stop, drop, and feel, if the goal is to stop yourself from eating, the stop, drop, and feel just becomes another form of restriction and therefore triggers the restrict binge cycle. So what helps make the stop accessible is starting the stop, drop, and feel with a promise that you can eat the thing that you want to eat after the stop, drop, and feel is over. The second thing is setting a timer for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. This helps make it small and doable, and it gives you a clear start and a clear finish. So when I have the desire to overeat, the desire to reach for food without hunger, I stop. I promise myself I can have those cookies, those sweets, those chips, whatever it is, the rest of my meal. Whatever it is, I can have that. But first, I'm going to go to a separate room, set my timer for 2 minutes, and drop into my feelings and flex the skill of emotional tolerance. I'm going to sit with my ickiest, edgiest emotions for just 2 minutes. And after I've put in the rep, after I've done the stop, drop, and feel, I can go eat that thing. And that permission is crucial. It is what makes the stop, drop, and feel accessible. It is what helps it not trigger the restrict binge cycle. So, on the journey to learning how to stop a binge in its tracks, please do not forget the element of permission, and don't forget to use your timer. Now that we have the mechanics of the stop, drop, and feel laid out, let's talk about 3 of the most common mistakes that I have seen in the last 7 years of using this tool myself, with my clients, and my readers. The number 1 most common mistake is not eating enough. The stop, drop, and feel only works when it's with emotional hunger, the desire to eat without physical hunger. If you're actually hungry, the stop, drop, and feel will not work, because when you're physically hungry, you need to eat. Okay, so pay attention to how much you're actually eating. Sometimes we can't feel our physical hunger if we're very detached from it, which is very common with excessive dieting, with years of counting calories, with years of trying to restrict our food intake. So just try and stay aware of how much you're eating, not to make sure that you're eating little enough, but to make sure that you're eating enough, that you are nourishing yourself, that you're giving your body the fuel and energy that it needs. Otherwise, the stop, drop, and feel, plain and simple, will not work. The second mistake that I see is how people define success. So I start off this video by saying, we're going to learn how to stop a binge in its tracks. And if you can't get there at first, you can get there with practice. And I said that because I don't want you to measure your level of success by whether or not you actually stop the binge, by whether or not you actually do not reach for the food without hunger. Because sometimes you are, and maybe in the beginning you're going to do it a lot, and that is not the metric we're measuring our success by. Success is measured by, did you set your timer for 2 minutes? And for 2 minutes, did you sit with your ickiest, edgiest emotions? For 2 minutes, did you train in feeling uncomfortable? Did you train in embracing with compassion and tenderness and acceptance anxiety, loneliness, stress? Because if you did that very tall ask, that it takes so much courage and energy and willpower to do. And so if you do that, that is success. And I want you to measure your success by whether or not you simply did it. And when I say simply did it, it's not simple. It is short. 2 minutes is short, but it is the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. So please give yourself credit where credit is due, and measure your success by whether or not you put the repetition in. And finally, the third mistake that I see is people trying to put the cart before the horse. So for some people, we know when we're reaching for food out of emotional hunger, out of uncomfortable emotions. And those people already have emotional awareness, which is also a skill. If you don't know what emotions come up, if you do the stop, drop, and feel and nothing comes up, you're not doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. Because instead of developing emotional tolerance, holding space for the uncomfortable emotions, What needs to happen first is building emotional awareness. And just like any other skill, it is built through repetition. So if you do the stop, drop, and feel, you set your timer, you sit or lay down, nothing comes up, you can't articulate anything, that is okay. I promise that with repetition and doing this every single day, you will develop an ability to identify and label your emotions. The key is to practice it. We can't build emotional awareness unless we practice it. So don't put the cart before the horse. If you don't have emotional awareness yet, you need to build that first, and then the emotional tolerance comes second. Either way, if you are carving out time to drop in and feel your feelings and just get curious for 2 minutes at a time, you're well on your way to developing both skills, both very important skills for learning how to stop a binge in its tracks with time and practice. Also, if you want more guidance on how to apply the stop, drop, and feel to your life to stop out of control eating, I have an entire masterclass, because even though this video is fresh and awesome and 18 minutes long, there is so much more to unpack. And I just refilmed the entire masterclass with fresh videos. So if you are interested, I will link to that down below. The Stop, Drop, and Feel Masterclass is all new and an excellent resource to continue working on this courageous journey. Now that we've gone through the mechanics of the Stop, Drop, and Feel, and we've discussed the common mistakes that I have seen, I'd like to share the story of how this tool came to be, because I hope that this will help you see how to implement the Stop, Drop, and Feel and what it looks like in real life. I will never forget the day where I was at home having lunch and I had the knee-jerk reaction to reach for candy, sugar sweets, Sour Patch, my favorite candy. And I remember in that moment, I had a flippant thought. I was like, I wonder what emotions are here if I sat down to feel them. Because at the time, I was writing off my desire, my knee-jerk reaction to have sugar, as sugar addiction. But what happened is I had that flippant thought, I sat down on my couch, I put my hands on my heart, and I dropped in, and I immediately burst into tears. I was sad, but I had no idea. I did not know it. And I had the knee-jerk reaction to reach for sugar, but I had no idea that it was fueled by the desire to buffer my feelings, because I didn't even know that feeling was there. And so that's why when someone feels like they are addicted to food, addicted to sugar, it is a valid case, sugar addiction and food addiction. But I encourage you to dig deeper, because my belief is that you have enough willpower to overcome those obstacles when you have emotional tolerance in your pocket. And so that was the day that the Stop, Drop, and Feel was born, because after I let myself feel those feelings and I let myself cry, the desire for sugar completely went away. And that was when I knew that I was onto something. That was when I knew that training in feeling these feelings, making space for these feelings, truly can make a difference. And I feel compelled to sort of sign off this video by saying that this is the hardest thing I have ever done repeatedly, day in and day out. These emotions, we have the knee-jerk reaction to reach for food so that we don't feel them because they are big, they are icky, they are edgy, and we don't want to feel them. And we've spent our whole lives training in not feeling them. And so it's important to give ourselves credit for this incredible work, this courageous work that we are doing here. I also want to share that one of the most incredible benefits of developing emotional tolerance outside of stopping compulsive eating is developing resilience. When you can tolerate discomfort, you can do a lot more things with your life, a lot of things that require hard work, a lot of things that require discomfort. It truly helps you build resilience, and that alone is worth it. And of course, stopping out of control eating also makes it worth it. This video was long overdue. When I first filmed the Stop, Drop, and Feel video in 2017 or 18, it was the first YouTube video I ever made. I will link to it. I will not take it down. I will leave it up and I will link to it down below. It was just, I was struggling with making YouTube videos and I told myself, just show up. Wet hair, fresh out of the shower, it doesn't matter. Just show up, film the video. It was one of the first ones I ever posted. Little did I know at the time that it would become one of the most important videos I will ever make. And I'm curious to know if you can hear my cat snoring in the background. Leave me a comment below if you can. Leave me a comment below if you have any questions. I would love to answer them. If you're thinking it, someone else is too. And I'm actually signing off now. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end, and I will see you in the next one.